In a way, The Big Short is part of a Hollywood tradition, the disaster movie. A disaster we all lived through.
Wall Street took a good idea and turned it into an atomic bomb of fraud and stupidity.
The Big Short looks at what caused the 2008 financial crisis that cost millions their homes, jobs, and savings.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail.
The movie, starring Steve Carrel, Christian Bale, Brad Pitt, and Ryan Gosling, was nominated this past week for 4 Golden Globes and 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards.
Anyone can see that there's a real estate bubble.
It tells the story of a few investors who saw the bubble being created in the housing market when no one else did.
So Mike Burry, a guy who gets his hair cut at Supercuts and doesn't wear shoes, knows more than Alan Greenspan and Hank Paulson.
Yeah, Dr. Mike Burry, yes, he does.
The film is based on the 2010 book by Michael Lewis.
You've got these oddballs who are kind of on the margins of the financial system who saw this crisis as it was developing, and nobody wanted to listen to them, and they made fortunes betting on the collapse of the system.
If Morgan goes under, we end up with nothing.
I say when we sell.
This isn't about you. This isn't about you.
Hey,
You're up
hey,
inside mahogany.
hey, I say when we sell.
Your books are based on characters. Are you always on the lookout
Yes.
for a character?
It's a character in a situation. If you ask me what's the starting point for books for me, it's almost always that. It's a character in a situation.
You smell that? What is that?
The cologne?
No, I smell money.
The characters in The Big Short are in a complicated situation involving risky mortgage bonds sold by big banks.
This is your basic mortgage bond.
They are trying to figure out what happens if homeowners begin to default on their mortgages and those bonds lose value.
The default rates are already up from 1% to 4%, fellas. And if they rise to 8%, and they will, a lot of these triple Bs are going to 0 too. And then that happens.
What is that?
That's America's housing market.
I did wonder while I was working on it, is this really a book?
It turned out to be a bestseller on the New York Times list for 28 weeks. But Lewis didn't write it with a movie in mind.
I don't feel I'm responsible for the movie. I'm responsible for the book. It's a very nice situation. If it goes really well, people give me credit for it. And if it goes badly, I just say he did it.
And cut.
He is screenwriter and director Adam McKay.
You don't think of a book about that subject as being a page-turner.
And you don't think of McKay as an obvious choice to write and direct a movie about complex financial issues. His previous works are Will Ferrell comedies, including Anchorman.
I immediately regret this decision.
And Talladega Nights.
I just want to take time to say thank you for my family. And of course, my red-hot smoking wife, Carly, who's a stone-cold fox.
When you do big, silly comedies, you learn to kind of disengage from worrying about what the critical response is, and you just worry about making a movie that works. And I think it really served me in this case.
When McKay had to explain how banks disguised risky mortgage bonds to look like secure investments, he brought in celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain. The banks, stuck with unsold bonds, Bourdain says, were like a chef, stuck with unsold fish.
Whatever crappy levels of the bond I don't sell, I throw into a seafood stew. See, it's not old fish, it's a whole new thing.
The tricks he used to get in the heads of the audience, I mean, it's diabolical.
I think later I found out he was a little dubious until he saw the movie, and then he was overjoyed that it actually worked.
During filming of The Big Short, Lewis never visited the set. You find, at least in the beginning, you found Hollywood kind of baffling, I guess.
Well, I still find it baffling. I mean, there's such an accidental quality to these things getting made.
In 2003, producers offered to buy the film rights to Moneyball, Lewis's book about Oakland A's general manager, Billy Beane. Billy Beane wasn't happy originally about it.
No, Billy Beane was really unhappy about the idea of a movie being made. I said, don't worry, they'll never make the movie, they'll just give you the money. That was my experience up to that point. They pay you until they get bored with the project and move on. I said, it's just like free money. And then one day he calls me, it was very funny, he calls me, he says, you bastard, Brad Pitt's coming to my house and my wife is putting on makeup and the babysitter's wearing a dress. And he said, you said this wasn't gonna happen.
I don't watch the games.
With Brad Pitt playing Beane, Moneyball was a hit. Lewis's book, The Blind Side, also became a popular movie starring Sandra Bullock
You can thank me later.
as a suburban mother who takes in a homeless high school football player.
Tony here's your quarterback, all right? You protect his blind side. When you look at him, you think of me.
Yes, ma'am.
The Big Short is Lewis's 12th book, but it has much in common with his first, Liar's Poker, about his brief experience working on Wall Street during the stock market boom of the 1980s. That, too, was a bestseller, but Lewis admits books about the financial markets don't necessarily appeal to every reader. You said you didn't think your mother had read The Big Short. You weren't sure?
If my mother watches this, I am in trouble. But I don't know that she has. My mother's a voracious reader, but like narratives about Wall Street, even when I'm the main subject, I'm not so sure she gravitates to those.
If she goes to see the movie, The Big Short,
She will see the movie.
she will understand it.
Oh, totally. It's very smart and interesting. And so I think she'll be, wow, that's different. But I think she'll completely understand it.